As I reflect on the Denver Broncos win over the Philadelphia Eagles, 21-17, the more and more I'm coming to the realization that this is not just another tick in the win column. This win not only signifies forward momentum for the Denver Broncos, but it signifies the coming out party of one Bo Nix. We're going to talk in this episode of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports about why I believe this is the most important win for Bo Nix in his young Denver Broncos career. Let's just take a look at the whole game from a stats perspective. Because if you were to tell me that Jalen Hurts was going to outthrow Bo Nix, if you were going to tell me the Broncos would have 12 penalties for 121 yards. And if you would have told me that at the beginning of the fourth quarter, the Philadelphia Eagles were going to be up 17-3, I would have told you the Denver Broncos were going to lose that game. And for a while, it did look like the Denver Broncos were going to lose that game. You tell me what you saw through three quarters. Because the truth is, there was no run game outside of a couple of plays. There was no pass game. It looked like utter domination from the Philadelphia Eagles and more Broncos first half struggles. It was not a good three quarters. But let's isolate the last part of the game that actually matters. The fourth quarter, down the stretch. This was the very first time this season that I saw Bo Nix take over a football game. He was sensational. And when I say took over a football game, I don't mean that there is no credit where credit is due to his wide receivers or to his defense or to his run game. But when you're a quarterback, especially a young quarterback, and your team is looking for you to lead them, you could very easily have given up on that game. You could have said, we just don't have it today. They're a better team than us. We'll move onward and upward next week to the New York Jets. But Bo didn't quit. And I'll be the first one to admit, as a fan, I don't have the kind of patience and temperament that Bo Nix displayed. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I got a shout out, though, of course, to Sean Payton. Because alongside Bo is Bo's master in command, Sean Payton, who gives me a lot of headaches when it comes to his first half play calling. But he might be the best second half adjustment coach I've ever seen. Not just in the NFL, not just in 2025. He might be the best second half adjustment coach that I have ever seen. It was a ballsy call as well to go for it on a 2-point conversion, knowing that if you kick the field goal, you're going to tie, or the extra point, you're going to tie that football game up. But it shows the belief that Sean Payton has in this football team. It shows the confidence and the faith in his coaching and his other coaches to do their job as well. It was a second half and fourth quarter masterclass from Sean Payton. It's why you pay him that much money per year. I want to bring up something real quick. This was on the video, or a comment on the last video that we made. Moose needs to frig off during these games. He's one of the most negative crybabies in the football sphere. And I'll tell you why I bring this up. My love for this team is evident in the way I talk about them. When they play poorly, I'm pissed, and I say it. When they play great, I'm on cloud nine, and I say it. I'm a fan, just like you. So my judgment, my calmness, my collectiveness is not always on display when you watch a watch party or when you watch a video. Because just like you, I want to see this team win. And that's why I'm not quarterback. That's why I'm not a football player. That's why I do this for the fans, by the fans, as a fan on YouTube. There's a reason that I couldn't play quarterback, not only for the Denver Broncos, but in the National Football League. I don't have that kind of temperament. But I don't need to because I love the Denver Broncos. I love my job, and I love this win for this football team. And if you loved what we saw, type your W down in the comment section. Show me that you're a real fan. Show me that you are here from the highest of highs like we saw today and the lowest of lows like we kind of saw today. Do me a favor, get going in the comment section down below. All right, before we continue on with our video today, this Broncos jersey was $44.99. It is now $33.74. Just go to www.chatsports.com/Broncos shirt. That's chatsports.com/Broncos shirt. If you want the very best Denver Broncos gear, hats, gloves, jerseys, customizable like this one in any color, any style, you just follow the link that we've put in the comments and description of today's video. Let's talk about Bo one more time. This was the very first time that I think every Broncos fan got what they wanted out of Bo Nix. Because while there have been moments in his rookie season, and while he did lead them to the playoffs last year, I think everybody has had one tiny bit of growing frustration with Bo Nix. Why can't he put together a consecutive amount of good performances? I'll be the first one to say that was my biggest criticism. Because against the Titans this year, he looked awful. Against the Colts, he looked really good. He kind of regressed a little bit towards the means against the LA Chargers. And then was on cloud nine again against the Cincinnati Bengals. And then all of a sudden, you go up against the Philadelphia Eagles. You have a couple of drops early. And then, of course, nothing gets going for Bo Nix or the offense throughout the first three quarters. And then I don't know if it was John Elway. I don't know if it was Peyton Manning. I don't know what kind of spirit entered into Bo Nix's body, but he echoed every single performance of every great quarterback down the stretch of the football game. And like I said, he wasn't even close to perfect. There were moments in this game, especially with the intentional grounding penalties while he's facing a man in his face. Sometimes it's better to take the sack than to try to get rid of the ball or to try to jump up and make a throw. He took some ugly sacks. He took some really bad plays in the intentional grounding. Like I said, there's a lot that you could clean up if you are Bo Nix about his game. But, and this is one very, very big but, I finally figured out what Bo Nix's greatest strength is. It is his temperament. It is his ability to stay on time, on target, on task, and never let the distractions get to him. Whether that's a pick, whether that's pressure, whether that is a few receivers dropping the football, which we'll touch on here in a little bit. If this was what the entire game looked like, I mean, let's be honest. This is what it was for pretty much the entire three quarters of that game. To come back down 2 touchdowns, lead your team to victory, and still act like it's just another Sunday is something that I can't do as a human being. I can't. I don't have that. I don't have that it factor. Bo does. He's a winner. And that's why you drafted him. There are some things you have to work on. Because while we can spend the entire time glazing the Broncos throughout this win and this victory Sunday, not all of it was sunshine and rainbows. The Broncos still have a major penalty problem. I'm going to go back tomorrow, and I'm going to tell you exactly where the Broncos stand in terms of penalties. They might be number 1 in the NFL in penalties. It's that bad. They had 12 today for 121 yards. The first half problems are still a concern. It's almost like a tale of two different teams. So you got to clean it up in the first half, and you got to get better against better teams like that. The big play giveaways, Riley Moss specifically, on defense, way too many big chunk plays that he gives up. And then also the drops. The drops. Between the last 2 weeks, I think I've counted 5 drops from Broncos wide receivers. I mean, you can't drop the football. Period. So I'll ask you before we get on out of here, what is your biggest concern with the Broncos after week 5? Mine is the penalties. That's why I put it number 1. Outside of that, minor things to clean up here, minor things to clean up there. But for the most part, the Denver Broncos, if they play like they did in the fourth quarter, they're going to win a lot of football games. and be well on their way to the postseason. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, Broncos country, be cool.